Well, folks, a little bit of review time right now. What we're going to look at here is a Cisco Unified Access construct, if you will. Cisco Unified Access is it's a marketing term, if we're being honest. It's a way that Cisco is helping to brand their product in a way that people understand what it is that they're buying into, right? What am I buying into if I buy into a Cisco Unified Access? I'm buying into the lazy man's approach to networking, right? I want one policy, one network, one management infrastructure in order to make me not have to look like this face that I've just drawn, but to look much more like this, right? Because I am sitting there happy because all I've got to do is use my one management tool to deploy my one policy and have one centralized set of rules and management and one network topology, one architecture, one iOS that applies to all of it. So that's great to understand it at that 100,000 foot level, but what about at the 10,000 foot level? Well, then the question is, all right, well, which products, services, components fit into each of these areas? So gang, I want you to take a look at these items down here at the bottom. And what we're going to do is give you an opportunity to pause the video and simply take a look, and I want you to take a screenshot and mark it separately, or to simply note in your mind which of these components applies to which of these aspects of unified access. So is it management, or is it network, or is it policy for each one of these things? All right, I'm just writing these. I'm not saying that they are those. That's your job to figure that out. So pause, and then we'll take a look at this together. Okay, so here's what we see, gang. We've got several areas to focus our attention on. When it comes to one network, the key to one network is converged devices and having the same iOS applied to both the wired and wireless environments. So the Catalyst 3850 switch, right? We've got one iOS, the iOS XE applied here. And that's also true here with the 5760 wireless LAN controller. Now, the 3850 and the 3650, remember, are fully converged. They are switches that have a wireless LAN controller built into them, right? Awesome. Those are converged devices. What about the 5760? It's just a wireless LAN controller, right? True, but remember, it can function as a mobility controller for multiple mobility agents, dividing the workload of a converged device so that the 3850s can run at this level and the 5760 can kind of govern all of our wireless LAN controllers operating at the access layer. All right, so that's on the network side. What about on the policy side? Well, with the policy side, you want to remember ISE, the Identity Services Engine, and a couple of things that the ISE provides us. Remember, this is our AAA service. It's providing Radius services, and that includes defining guest flows for access. So is it a hotspot? Is it going to be a sponsored web guest? Is it going to be a self-service web guest? How's that going to function? And that is one aspect of a way to provide web-based authentication. So the web authentication is not happening via the wireless LAN controller. It's been delegated, it's been centralized to the policy of the ISE environment. Okay, so ISE definitely core to the one policy framework. What about one management? Well, one management we tend to think of with our localized infrastructure using Prime infrastructure. The whole deal with Prime infrastructure, remember, is you've got one centralized management infrastructure to keep track of your wired and wireless elements, right? So it allows you to manage, to set, to review the bandwidth, to look at bottlenecks, to optimize it, to configure it all centrally. One of those tools that's a part of Prime infrastructure is the User 360 view, which allows you to focus on an individual user, where they've logged on, what their session's like, their applications. There's also a Device 360 view. There's a lot of components to Prime infrastructure. Just grab that one. Another one to remember is the Meraki dashboard. Remember, Prime infrastructure will let us essentially have a sneak peek and a link into the Meraki dashboard. Meraki dashboard, but the Meraki dashboard is a part really of its centralized infrastructure, the one management for cloud. So this is cloud versus on-prem, all right, is really the idea, depending on which route you're taking. All right. So hopefully that gives you kind of a review and you're able to put these different elements in the place where they belong.